functional on the day it started. And probably some of the I don't watch Jon Stewart on a regular basis, but I've certainly gone to YouTube and looked at the clips of the secretary and Jon Stewart's explanation for how the website works. It's worth a look if you haven't done that. Well, what does this mean for us going forward? Will they get the website fixed? I don't know. It's a really tough problem to do it. Now, they've hired this guy, you may have heard of him, Jeffrey Zients. I encountered Jeffrey Zients in our committee, probably the summer of 2011. At that time, he was working down for the Office of Management of the Budget. Jeffrey Zients was asked to come to our committee and tell us why he had given money to a company called Solyndra when clearly they couldn't make it. He didn't show up. It was a no-show. I was the one on the committee who insisted that he must come and talk to us about that. And actually, a hearing was held and subpoenas were issued for Jeffrey Zients to come to the committee. He happily complied at that point. He lectured me from the witness table that I just didn't understand about venture capitalism. In venture capitalism, you put money forward and take a little bit of a risk, but you might get a pretty big reward. And I instructed Mr. Zients that he didn't understand what taxpayer money was for. Taxpayer money, which is taken a penalty of law and the threat of imprisonment, is not to be used gambling on venture capital. But Mr. Zients was one of the engineers of this program that allowed the subordination of the taxpayer debt to the venture capital debt, clearly in violation of the law. This is not my idea of someone who is above reproach who should be handling the salvage of this website. Will it work at some point? It will work enough for them to say it is. What's going to happen next? Are doctors and hospitals and nurses going to get paid on time in January? I doubt it because of the problems that they're having. But the real risk is September of next year, 11 months from now, when people see in that open enrollment period what the cost of reissuing their insurance will be, because no one has signed up to offset the cost of people who really need the insurance are going to buy it. The adverse selection rule kicks in a big way. I want to remind you of something that happened in this country in 1988. I know Shirley remembers. Dan Rostenkowski was the Democratic chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. Remember Rosty, Uncle Rosty, as he would portray himself on TV? He passed what was called a catastrophic health care bill out of his Committee of Ways and Means in the United States House of Representatives. He was really proud of it. He was going to tax some seniors to pay for something for other seniors. He thought everyone would love him for that income transfer. He got the law signed. It was one of the last laws that was passed at the end of the Reagan administration in 1988. He went home and did his town hall meetings and nearly got clobbered. People were chasing him out of his town hall meetings with signs. They pounded on his car. He had to run across the street to a gas station, into another car to get out of that town hall meeting. He ran right back to Washington. In the next session of Congress, they repealed the catastrophic health care law that he was so proud of before. It was repealed. George H.W. Bush was president at the time. It was actually repealed on, what was the vehicle by which they repealed that? Oh, it was a debt limit bill that had to come through Congress as a must-pass bill. Is any of this starting to sound familiar? There is a template for us to rid ourselves of this scourge known as Obamacare. And that template will occur when enough people have been hurt badly enough that they demand that something that would be done about it. My prediction is that day is going to occur just shortly before the 2014 election. 10 Democratic senators are now aware of this and are asking for their side to do something about it. They're asking for the same things that the Republicans were asking during the shutdown. Let's delay this thing for a little while because it isn't going to work. It's not ready for prime time. You've had 3.5 years, $1 billion to build this website, and it's not working. Why would we put one more dime into a failed proposition? So that's where we find ourselves. Let me end on kind of a positive note. And I do get to go around the country, and I do get to talk to people. I do get to meet a lot of people as a consequence of the job that you allow me to do. As I find going around the country, there is enormous optimism, not in faith in the government, but faith in the people. The golden age of medicine is just literally right around the corner. Doctors of tomorrow are going to be able, they'll have the ability to alleviate human suffering on a scale that no generation of doctors has ever known. The good news is that they're young, they're bright, they're dedicated, and they understand the road ahead for them. Yeah, we screwed the policy up pretty bad, but they're young. They've got fast computers, and I know that they're going to be able to figure out the things that we didn't. The problem is we cannot saddle them with so much debt that it's impossible for them to get out of that. So here we are, 2 weeks away from the filing period for the Republican primary in the state of Texas. I am so appreciative of everyone being here today. I wanted you to know that come Monday morning, November 9th, I'll be down there bright and early, get my papers notarized, send off the required documents, and I will be filing for re-election on the Republican.